blessings, give thanks and praises to the Almighty. I did this video about 100 times trying to basically, get right, the original doctrine of His Imperial Majesty QEDAMAWI, HAILE, SELASSIE. So I'm looking on this right here. I'm gonna see if they have some information that's there. Again, we was talking about the word Ethiopian. It's really for all of us. It's a spiritual concept first, and it's interesting that in the Bible, from the Greek Strong Concordance of the word Ethiopian is to burn. The word to burn, and we were linking that word. I think with the word H6. What is it? We can go put it in real quick. But it's H6999. Now, what was interesting about that word, H6999, right, is the word, there we go, it's Qatar. Qatar in the Hebrew, to sacrifice, burn incense, burn sacrifices, make sacrifices, smoke. To make sacrifices, smoke. Right? So there's a link there with, of course, the Ishans, or as one would say, marijuana. There's something very important and interesting that the word Ethiopian, right? Ethiopian to them is to burn, and then it says faces, but we're speaking from a metaphysical principle, from a spiritual perspective. Others, they say it says burnt face people, but that's not what it says in this definition. When we look the word up, it's to burn, and then it said faces. So interpreting this from the metaphysical or the spiritual application doesn't mean that one who's thinking natural minded will understand. Now, three principles we should understand is: one is divinity, another is a divine nature, and we'll go into a word on that, and then we're going to natural. I had I met this Eritrean sister the other day. Was in she was speaking to Gray and stuff like that. But anyway, she was saying that in her church, that Jesus was white man. He doesn't have hair. It's a haircut. It's not good to have hair. It's a sin. She was like, Paul said it was a sin. And these are the type of confusions that have happened to the world from, coming away from the covenant of the Almighty, especially the people in particular, the black peoples of the world, or the Ethiopians, and to have the fuller understanding that Judah is my lawgiver. There's several tribes of Judah spread all over the world. One specifically that will be that we would put in the media. That would be in like the media. That's the popular tribes, like the African Americans. The reason that they're a popular tribe, the reason we say so, is because all over the world, America being the place that it is, it's probably like was the primary stock of the European system, marketing, world commerce, economics, and control. America being the mainstream point of all that, and the people in particular being so-called slaves in that country, so making themselves part of that. They will basically stock market themselves, so the people themselves are own cattle, part of the Constitution of America. This is very important. That's why there's a lot of brothers and sisters, once they start to learn a lot of things, they ask many other brothers and sisters why they still had their English names, because the name is significant to the nationality that the person having that name being of Ethiopian originality from the biblical perspective of the word black, or what a black person is. But all black people are the first man, and then the spiritual science of the etia, or the real God particle. It's the etia. And those who are against the covenant of the Lord, they overstand that. And without the law, there'll be a continuance of serving gods of wood and stone. But upon looking at the nation, you can see that the dollar is actually devaluating in the euro. The euro is devaluating. It's pretty obviously about that. And they said themselves that they wanted to, from their propaganda, they said that they wanted to take draconian measures, meaning cutting benefits for the poor, as if they don't already do that enough. And Bob Marley has a song saying, don't put your trust in the politician, because they'll fool you every time, and basically, rather that, I'm remembering what he said, is that they'll only basically enslave you or further enslave you more and more and more with the information. So this church originally, being in the article of His Imperial Majesty, the Article 126, or in the Constitution, the revised Constitution of His Imperial Majesty, QEDAMAWI, HAILE, SELASSIE, the word of the Lord, the word that was written by the pen of the Almighty. This church is the primary pillar for all the churches all over the world, and it brings into place that verse in Revelation where it speaks about the Church of Philadelphia, that I know you are not cold nor neither warm, but you are lukewarm, and I will spew you out. Return to your first love. Return to your first love, which means the original ancient doctrines founded on the precepts of the Almighty, that was established, right? The Ethiopian Orthodox Church, founded in the 4th century on the doctrines of Saint Mark, is the established church of the empire, meaning the whole world. Now, we're speaking about the regency of the Ethiopian realm, then we'll be speaking about the promised land, and the seed of Abraham, the promise given to his children. But the empire is the whole world. That's why the Council of Chalcedon came up with doctrine, right, which is called heresies, which is according to the natural man. But if you apply yourself to the natural man's rights, then you're allowed to have your full God-given rights stripped away from you. This is actually what's happened to the black peoples all over the world, the black and brown peoples all over the world, going into captivity with the nations such as Europe. And that's why we're actually at the end of the European Gentile, the European Gentile domination, the national, them ruling, having the power over the minerals and the sources of the earth, but the earth being in such pollution, or the earth being basically driven down, being oppressed, the poor being oppressed, people getting sicker, health is getting bad, the government is charging more, the rich get rich and the poor get poor. So this is the law to overcome that, but one has to make a proclamation. So again, it brings us back to, again, divinity, which is spirituality, prime power spirituality, the faith in the Son, Jesus Christos, our black Lord and Savior, and his father, QEDAMAWI, HAILE Selassie, Jah, Rastafari. That spiritual faith, indeed, with prayer, because faith without works is void or dead. And every time we burn incense as priests, as we burn this incense, according to the custom of Rastafari, to burn, to do the Eyes Baruch Atah prayer before burning his incense, doing your prayer, your Baruch Atah, the Fasika, the Passover prayer, Baruch Atah Yahweh Adonai Eloheinu Malek HaOlam HaMotzeh Lekum Min Haaretz, the Amen, and the double blessing, which is the wine, or the wine blessing. Though I don't recite it at the moment, it's a very deep and spiritual prayer. It's a prayer that I chant all through the day long. So when bringing it forth, it's a prayer that we all should say, because it will give us strength, it will give us power over the darker forces or the evil forces, you know, who are hunting us down. Because physically, indeed, they eventually plan on doing what they plan on doing, but they know they have a short range, so time is really just running out. And with the grace and the blessings of His Majesty's, you know, the revised Constitution of Imperial Ethiopia, of His Imperial Majesty QEDAMAWI Haile Selassie, it basically gives us the blueprint. You know, it basically frees us. It liberates us. This is our liberation. This is the law of God. You know, and we should take it serious. But it's a note that I want to make before, you know, going into every article, with also the Bible, you know, the Holy Bible. So it's a blessing. But bringing that revelation again, that you know, that return to your first love, return to your original faith, return to your first love, the faith that Yahweh gave you, the faith that the Almighty God gave you. My people, you know, come out of her before it's too late. Come out of Babylon. Come out of the stranger within the self before it's too late for your human soul. You know. Now, Article 125 says the official language of the empire is Amharic, which is important because the Book of the Seven Seals, which is written by the golden pen of His Imperial Majesty, and spirit and truth. If you read the Bible, you might be familiar with the golden pen mystery, or the spiritual of the golden pen. You know, so you hear it, you might have a familiarity with it. If not, understand that His Majesty is the Almighty, and that this is His word, the law, to be understood through His Torah, His Bible. You know, the Bible, and the Metzahaf Kadush, the Book of the Seven Seals, which is written by His Majesty, or the revelation, the mystery is Revelation 5:5. King of Kings, Lord of Lords, He who was found worthy to open the book, is written in the pure language Amharic. So none of this is a coincidence. There's too much proof and too much information that's provided for us to understand that this is liberation. This is our way out. This is our unification. You know, in order to overcome our oppressors, we must unify. That's the only way that the people will put their army back together. All the children of the Almighty, you know, who are faithful Ethiopian subjects. You know, and that starts in the spirit of all humans. You know, being that we all come from the Ethiopians. So we must return to that first love within our spirit, the Almighty. Rastafari. But you know, we have a little time. I want to read Article 125. Well, Psalm 125. You know, that we can read Psalm 125, and it will bring us some spiritual clarity on Article 125. Now, the 1931 Constitution of His Imperial Majesty is, the Constitution of 1931 has 55 articles. There's 55 articles. This one has 131, but together, with the readings of the Psalms, it becomes 134 if you count the last three of the Song of Degrees. You know, which to I is the spiritual hidden code, or the spiritual hidden parable of the Almighty, revealing the truth to the eye. You know, revealing the truth of this doctrine to the eye. So go to Psalm 125, the Song of Degrees, and in it says it's a prayer. You know, we give thanks for the titles that the fellow Hebrew Israelite brothers and sisters give, you know, not knowing how much aware of what they were, but moved in the spirit by the grace of Yahweh, we're able to utilize the information that that we get from our spiritual brothers. You know, whether or not, sometimes if it's in halfness, then we could take a little bit of what we can use of what they've acknowledged or what they know. Those who are Rastafari true on a higher level with the revelation of the Son and the Father, then able to overstand and reveal more. So as we read here, it says, they that trust in the Yahweh, right, shall be a Mount Zion, Mount Zion, which cannot be removed, but abide forever. As the mountains are round about Jerusalem, you know, and I Virgin Sizzler, you know, give thanks and praise. That's a song, mountains round about Jerusalem. So me and my youths, we sing that song quite often when we ride. So the Yahweh, the Lord, the Yahweh is round about his people, his people from henceforth, lezelalem, forever, even forever. For the rod of the wicked, which is the staff, you know, which is the strength of the system of the wicked, right? For the rod of the wicked shall not rest on the lot, on the portion given to the righteous. That's why, you know, these doctrines keep in mind. You know, keep in mind. You know, we want to go into this. I haven't quite went into this page quite yet, but I want to go into it and, you know, see how close the relationship is with the Our Father. You know what I mean? Bless him. But it was just a page that we were looking on because we were looking for some information, more information about Saint Mark from the 4th century AD. And, you know, we felt that was very important, Saint Mark. And we couldn't help but to wonder, you know, at the greatest extent, this Saint Mark, is this the Saint Mark of the BIBLE? You know, just to get a fuller disclosure, because it only would, you know, again, reveal so much. And blessings and the grace of the Almighty, we know that the spirit of the letter of Saint Mark is the truth, you know, of the BIBLE, the Saint Mark, you know, from Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. The word Mark meaning to shine, shining, you know. So God bless. I think we was in the metaphysical and we was looking up the word for Mark, you know what I mean. But finishing up, for the rod of the wicked shall not rest on the lot of the righteous, lest the righteous put forth their hands, right, to iniquity, which is secret sin. Do good, O Yahweh, to those that be good, and to them that are upright in their hearts. In their hearts. So put Amarinya, put the you know, let the heart be gold in Jah. You know, put Amarinya in your heart. Learn your Hebrew. Learn your Amharic. You know, so that we could come out of this. So as for such as turn aside to their crooked ways, the Yahweh shall lead them forth with the workers of iniquity. But shalom, peace, shall be on Israel, which is the national name of Yahweh. Well, you know, at least in the Schofield Bible, I think there's a note they say Israel is the national name of Yahweh from their notes. And that's where we got that from. But give thanks and praises to Jah, the Almighty Jah, Rastafari, and more to come.